Now,
on News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
O'Connor and Company.
It's 5:07 on O'Connor and Company on this first day of November. Julie Gunlock, we're 10 months into 2023.
How is that possible?
It is insane. There's only 2 months to go here, so get working on those New Year's resolutions. It's going to get embarrassing come 2 months from now. I hope you all had a great Halloween. Happy All Saints Day, if you are observant. Coming up later this morning at 6:05, Sean Kennedy of Virginians for Safe Communities. There's a lot of things to vote about this November in Virginia. Crime should be one of them. 6:35, Cal Thomas will join us. At 7:05, Ann Miller, she's a mother of a football player, a boy, who was forced to share a bathroom with a girl. And I know that sounds like an 80s, Porky's romp kind of movie, but it's actually not cool at all. And I wouldn't want my son to be in that position. There's also a planned walkout today in Loudoun County schools over Israel. So we want to inform you about that. 7:35, Amy Riccardi is running for school board in Loudoun County, and we'll talk to Amy. 8:35, Adam Credo, senior writer at the Free Beacon, always has great coverage of the Middle East and Iran and all that. So we're going to cover all those things. But we're fresh off last night's Halloween festivities. And Julie, you sent a picture around to the team last night. We have a little chat group on the O'Connor and Company team of your son's homemade Halloween costume. And you're at a point now where you're not really involved in your boy's Halloween choices. He's like, I've got a costume, I'll come up with it, and he sort of came down and revealed it.
He did. He did it entirely on his own. And honestly, I was doing sort of car pickup yesterday, so I was running around to the different schools getting the different kids, and one kid had sports practice, so I was late getting home, and he had taken a pillowcase and put a big dollar sign on it.
Like the Monopoly Man.
Yeah, he sort of colored it on a piece of paper and then duct taped it or package taped it on.
That's cute.
And then put a suit on. He has this little suit and made a name tag for himself. And he was an IRS agent. And his name tag said, "Hi, my name is Robert Theft."
Because taxation is theft.
Yes. And I
you
had
are raising that kid
nothing
right.
to do with this. It was the most adorable thing. And this is the funny thing. Everybody in the neighborhood, because he went over. And also, I did not trick or treat with him. He went out on his own because, hey, free range.
Yes.
And no, he wasn't kidnapped or molested. He was just fine. Anyway, he went a couple streets over where we have some good friends. And the mom did. She's a bit of a hoverer, follow this sort of group of kids as they were trick-or-treating. And everyone asked him if he was Donald Trump. And it
tells you everything you need to know about your neighborhood.
Yes. And on the name tag, it also said Robert Theft, and underneath that, it said Internal Revenue Service. So he would point to the.
You'd have to that takes some looking. So a man with a suit and a pillowcase with a dollar sign on it is immediately Donald Trump. Did he have a mask on too?
That's right. No,
Did he have like a Lone Ranger's mask?
Nope. It was just him in a suit, and he looked adorable, as you can see from the picture.
He did. I'm looking at it now. Yeah.
Yes.
That was great. And what about the candy haul?
Oh, okay. So I meant to grab a couple handfuls for you and our producer Michael and bring in some candy for you guys.
Kind.
He hid it.
He hid the candy from you?
I came down this morning expecting it to be on the dining room table, and it wasn't. So I sort of did a sort of quick look around the house. It's hidden. He hid it somewhere, so I'll have to find it from probably under his bed.
Don't you miss the days when they were little, when they all went to bed, and then you and Dad went through all the candy while they were sleeping?
Oh yeah.
Because they wouldn't miss it. They don't know, so you sort of
picture.
sort it through and
Look
everything.
At the next picture.
Yes.
Our producer.
We're seeing Heather Hunter's little girls, Quinn and Bailey.
She had a ladybug.
Looks like Bailey is Ariel.
Yes.
Look at that right here.
Yes.
Ariel the mermaid.
And Ladybug from Miraculous.
There you go. Very nice.
So adorable.
I have no pictures to share.
Did you get any trick-or-treaters?
All right, so here's what happened. Meredith is working. Meredith, I don't know if I've divulged this, but she's getting her master's degree right now. So she's got a lot of schoolwork that she's doing for a moment, a remote degree she's getting. And so she's got a lot. So she had an assignment due that she had to work on. And I'm working on a project for Fisher House
Honestly,
Foundation.
that makes me want to, just having an assignment due, it makes me want to break out.
Did it give you the heebie-jeebies?
I'm a little triggered.
I'm working on holiday programming for Fisher House Foundation that's going to be heard on radio stations in the holidays across. So we both had work to do last night. So we were working in our office. We have little desks that we work together on, and we're working. And at around 5 o'clock, 5:30, Meredith looks up with this gasp and says, "Oh, Halloween." And I said, "Oh God, we forgot." And she looked at me.
Because you need candy in the house.
She said we have two choices. One of us can go and get candy at the last minute, or we just turn off all the lights and pretend we're not home. We did the latter.
Yes,
smart. We didn't have a jack-o'-lantern or any of the indications that we are open for business.
That's the signal. You turn your porch light off.
Turn the porch lights off, shut the blinds.
Yep.
We look like that house.
Yeah.
And we heard them because our office is right at street level, bottom floor, right next to the front door. And we're on a corner lot, so you can hear all the kids going around.
It really is panicky, though, when you forget. Because honestly, I'm sort of at the point where Halloween is not as big a deal. My two older kids don't go out, and my youngest is like at the end
dresses
of his,
like Donald Trump.
End of his career. And so it is a panic. You're gonna give out like
condoms. You're giving out condoms.
I was gonna say condiment packets.
Wow, that would be something.
No. Oh gosh, yes. How very Loudoun County.
Exactly. Be safe, kids. We're 7.
I meant condiment packets. Never mind.
Like here's Chick-fil-A sauce.
Yes, exactly. Because you might forget to get.
You don't
I don't have
drawer.
candy sitting around the house.
Right. You have soy sauce packets from the
that
Chinese
didn't go
takeout.
well. That didn't go well.
No, not so. All right. Well, happy Halloween to everyone. It seemed like it was a fun night.
Yeah.
And what was amazing to me is that I saw people on my social media who have kids who had to do the twofer. They had to trick or treat and then go to a Halloween party. Yeah. Who plans a Halloween party on Halloween night?
Lots of people.
Especially on a Wednesday or Tuesday.
Lots of people. Some people put like screens out and the kids can come by and watch a little bit of Charlie Brown Pumpkin or something. And,
great pumpkin Charlie Brown.
And there's a lot of people in and out of the houses. Yeah. You can go in and get a beer or go get a glass of wine. So there is a lot of socializing on Halloween. Uh-huh. But I was particularly glad because it wasn't super cold. It was chilly, but it wasn't super cold.
It felt like a nice autumn night.
And no rain. Yeah. It was perfect.
It was a really great Halloween. And I'm surprised because I looked at the crime blotter and I didn't see any. I was expecting major crime in D.C. last night because people sort of become lunatics.
Candy makes people happy
on Halloween. I hope that's the case, or maybe there was an increased police presence now
maybe.
That people seem to be coming to their senses. Anyway, that's what. So all the kids did their little walkouts last night, where they get dressed up and they walk around the neighborhood and get candy. Today, kids are planning walkouts in favor of terrorists in the high schools of Northern Virginia. We'll give you the details of a Fairfax County student walkout that seems to be endorsed by the school district.
Yeah, no big surprise there.
We'll give you all the details in a moment. First, it's 5:15 of WMAL traffic and weather. Every 10 minutes, first on the fives. Your boy's too old to do the Halloween thing, Jamie Whitten.
They did go to a party, though.
Oh, nice. All right.
Montgomery County, there's no school today. I don't know. So
to recover from last night?
Yeah, I guess. So they're like, we're going to go to a party. I'm like, oh, okay.
WMAL shows when you want them. Download the new WMAL app and listen on demand.
All right, Julie. So I got to think Alexandria County schools or city schools are completely all in for the terrorists, right? It's like are kids having to wear scarves on their heads? The girls are.
Actually, the city did light up City Hall.
Red, black, and green?
No.
Blue and white?
Yes.
Blue and
white. For one day, they didn't mention it. There was no social media. There was someone who questioned the mayor on it, and he responded by saying, yeah, the building was lit up. I'll get a picture if I drive by tonight. And so
at least that's something.
God bless. I am not complaining. And so far, I haven't seen a lot of pro-Palestine sort of activity or pro-Hamas, I should say.
In Loudoun County today, for some reason, they're going in all in, at least at Percival High School. Now, but this walkout has nothing to do with Palestine, though. Fairfax is planning a walkout later in the week for Palestine. We'll give you the details of that. But today in Percival, a group of parents and students are walking out of Percival High School over a female identifying as a male playing in the men's sports teams and using the locker rooms. Now, we hear about this a lot, about boys identifying as girls and being part of the girls' locker rooms. This is an incredibly uncomfortable and dangerous and inappropriate situation where a girl pretending to be a boy is dressing in the locker rooms and participating in boys' sports. This girl's going to get injured, first of all.
Yeah.
It's also just so inappropriate to put a young man in that position.
Yes.
And expect anything other than, I think, sadly, a natural male response to this sort of thing.
Which he'll be criticized for.
Of course.
And that is a natural response, by the way. And he'll be called toxic. And
yeah.
Yeah.
We actually have a guest coming on to talk about it later in the program at 7:05. Ann Miller is the mother of a freshman football player, a 14-year-old boy who's playing football, who's now stuck in this situation. But I'm very proud of the parents and the students who want to walk out over this.
Yeah.
This has to end, and this is the kind of walkout that I fully encourage because it directly relates to them. So I criticize students, and everyone, oh, you're a hypocrite, Larry, because you don't like the other walkouts, but you're okay with this walkout. Yeah, because this directly affects the students on a day-to-day basis in the high school. It has to do with the direct policy of the school. When kids
walk out for climate change. Give me a break.
For climate change, or because Donald Trump is being
Right.
inaugurated as president, or because of Israel defending herself in Gaza, that has nothing to do with high school students. They're just being political activists.
Well, and also let's not pretend that in many cases these walkouts are orchestrated by left-wing parents and left-wing groups
and
left-wing teachers.
Yes.
And in this case, you've got some real problems that students have with a policy, and yet again a policy that serves one person at the expense of every other student.
Which brings us to Fairfax County, where they are planning a walkout over the situation in Israel. It's tomorrow at 2:30. What time is school out?
Yeah,
at 3?
Yeah.
What kind of walkout is this? Okay, you can leave 20 minutes early, I guess. So an email now has been circulated to parents. I'm writing to inform you that Thursday, November 2nd, some of the students will be walking out of class to protest and draw attention to what's happening in the Middle East. By regulation, this is their right. What?
Yeah.
Oh, Fairfax County has made this legal, that students can walk out if they want. Therefore, I want to make sure we're all on the same page. Oh, so this was sent to teachers, it looks like. From the FCPS. FCPS does not oppose nor endorse any of the calls to action in response to recent events.
Let's not forget that the Fairfax County School Board member Obrar Omish. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, Amish.
Amish. She refused to recognize the victims of 9/11.
Yeah.
She is a radical. And I'm sure, I don't know that she's made any statements about the situation in Israel, but I'm sure she supports this walkout.
If a student chooses to walk out of class, you should not try to stop them. Students are responsible for any work they miss. Faculty should remain in class with students who don't participate. FCPS employees may not participate in demonstrations. No one should be distributing materials in the classroom unless I have approved such an act, which I generally do not. This is from a principal, it appears. Instructional personnel may discuss political issues with students as part of the instructional program, following guidelines to ensure balanced and critical review of issues. Yeah, I'm sure that's what's going to occur. And I want to know from this principal, if a teacher does join the students, will they be fired immediately on the spot? That would have been a great little addition to this email that went out to teachers.
Yeah, and I stand corrected, of course, while you were talking. I just did some research, and Amish has chided fellow school board members for recognizing the victims of the Hamas attack.
Oh.
Yes, this was a story I'm
It's
reading
actually
on Fox
proactively
News.
criticizing her.
On
well, she's
February
not running
13th,
for re-election.
The board actually recognized the attack victims.
Yeah.
And she criticized them for not including Palestinians in that. For this one moment of silence for these the torture victims, the murdered victims.
All right, so look out for that for Fairfax County tomorrow. And now there might be a walkout of Hill staffers, the grown-ups. We'll tell you all about that in a moment. It's 5:22. Right, so it's one thing for minds full of mush, as Rush Limbaugh used to call them, school kids being influenced by these pro-Hamas, pro-terrorist sort of radicals. It's another thing when you're talking about people who work on Capitol Hill. And the fact is, staffers, you remember these Hill staffers circulated a petition, employees, they got over 400 staffers to call for a ceasefire in Gaza. And by the way, probably all Democrats, you've got to think.
Sure.
Right. 400 is not that much if you think about how many people work on the Hill and staffers. You have 400 of them to sign that. That's less than one per member of House. They're obviously being ignored. Nothing's happening, moving toward a ceasefire. So now they're taking it one step further, and they're threatening a strike. They're threatening a walkout of Capitol Hill very publicly to protest the fact that Congress isn't doing anything to side with the terrorists.
Let them go.
Oh, I think it
Seriously.
would be an incredibly
and this is all,
moment.
and as Meredith Drake,
My wife Meredith is sort of, she used to work on the Hill, so she's still got a lot of contacts on Capitol Hill, and she's getting a lot of these messages and a lot of the information about what's happening behind the scenes.
Yeah, and she had a good point. She said, "Say what you want about GOP disarray, because that is the constant mantra up there.
Right,
that the
Republicans
GOP
on the House can't
just,
get anything done.
Yeah, which actually is called, the deliberative process, and many people think it's healthy that the GOP is having these internal discussions, and it's good that we're looking at leadership and effectively deciding,
the sausage making.
Yeah, that as opposed to the Democrats, who are just in lockstep.
And their staff is revolting against them. I mean, they can't even keep their staff in line.
It's beautiful. And it is this radical part of the Democrat Party that can't be controlled.
Yeah. Coming up, what happened to Gretchen Carlson? We're going to give you the latest on her. Remember Gretchen Carlson? She kind of stepped in it with some commentary about AR-15s and guns, and we'll tell you about it next.
WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station.
Making sense of the news.
News Talk 105.9.
News now. Now.
On News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
O'Connor and Company.
5:36 here. It's O'Connor and Company on this Wednesday, first day of November. Dang. Where'd this year go? Coming up at 6:05, Sean Kennedy, Virginians for Safe Communities. Give us a last look at this election looming next week. 6:35, Cal Thomas will join us. 7:05, Ann Miller. She's the mother of one of those boys in Loudoun County who now has to shower with a girl, and he's not happy about it. Neither is she. 7:35, Amy Riccardi, mom and entrepreneur running for Loudoun County School Board. Excuse me. A little Halloween candy there, backfiring on me.
I did bring you a piece of candy.
You did, a Butterfinger, thank you. A little nugget. 8:35, Adam Credo from Washington Free Beacon, latest out of the Middle East and the Washington response. I'm Larry O'Connor. That is candy giver Julie Gunlock.
Good morning.
Good morning, Julie. All right, so I actually know Gretchen Carlson. I used to do Gretchen Carlson's show every Wednesday. I was a regular on Gretchen Carlson's midday show after she used to be at Fox and Friends. Mm-hmm. I think she was either an OG host or I think she came in like 2 years into the creation of Fox and Friends. And Gretchen Carlson was the blonde between Steve Doocy and Brian Kilmeade.
Yeah.
And they created that show. She was iconic every morning on Fox. And then they moved her to afternoons to have her own show. Mm-hmm. That's where I got to know her better. I used to do Fox and Friends in the day too. But then I started doing the afternoon show, saw her on a regular basis then. But then she got caught up in the Roger Ailes. Well, she didn't get caught up. She caught herself up into the Roger Ailes sexual harassment stuff. She joined the lawsuit claiming that she had been harassed there. She got a big settlement. She left Fox. And she's basically just been living a private life now. I will give her this. She ruined the Miss America pageant.
Yes, she did. She became the head of the Miss America pageant. And
she
tried
said,
to wokeify
no more bathing suits, no more this, no more that. It's just a scholarship program, and nobody watches it anymore.
Right.
And yes, wokeify it. And something has happened with her where she has embraced liberal ideology and talking points. I don't think she was liberal.
She is a hero of the left.
I don't know what her story is.
She's a hero of the left. She's also married to a very wealthy man.
Very wealthy. Her husband was Derek Jeter's agent.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So she didn't need, who knows what people need. I don't know what her obligations are. She has many homes, I'm sure. So you gotta pay the bills. Anyway, I don't know what her motives are. I just wanted to give you my personal background with her. But she has now basically embraced every liberal talking point on the planet. The latest has to do with guns. Ben Shapiro, in wake of the massacre in Israel, Ben has been incredibly passionate, as one can imagine, about not just
Ben
the
Shapiro
nation of Israel.
Literally was in Israel the day before.
Right. He had just
the program.
returned home before that.
Yes.
He had been going back often with his family. He's not just very concerned about the state of Israel and the defense of that nation that he loves and visits often, but also about Jews here at home.
Yes.
And any Jew in America right now, and any Gentile for that matter, who cares about humanity should be concerned about their Jewish neighbors, considering the outward signs of hate that we're seeing right now targeting Jewish people. So Ben Shapiro took to his program, which you hear every day here at 9 p.m. on WMAL, and he said this.
And the reality is, once again, that every one of these situations involving a mass shooter is a situation in which the person has all sorts of indicators that they should not have had a gun in the first place, and somebody dropped the ball somewhere along the way, which really speaks to a lack of belief in the actual social fabric. Because if you see somebody around you who should not have a gun, somebody around you who has severe mental illness, you have an obligation, a moral obligation to report that to the authorities, and the authorities have a moral obligation to try to get that person the care they need and remove from them the ability to have access to a weapon.
And I think everybody who's in favor of the Second Amendment and promotes the Second Amendment agrees with that. This, of course, is in response to what happened up in Maine, where we've learned that person had no business being anywhere near a firearm, or for that matter, just circulating in society.
Yes, and in many, many cases, Parkland, many other mass shooting cases, there are indications. How many times did the social services or police visit that young man's home? And so after these things happen, we find out, everyone knew. Everyone knew.
And by the way, how many laws do we already have passed on the books that we have agreed to?
Why is NICS so broken? This system where you put the name through and find out if they have previous criminal history.
Yeah.
It's broken. Why can't we fix? Exactly. Why can't we enforce?
And we have laws where if somebody like this person in Maine is literally committed to a mental institution, the guns get taken away.
Yes.
We're okay with that.
Right.
All right.
That is your moral obligation. It is a thing that you should do. By the same token, it is immoral to remove from a law-abiding citizen who knows how to use a gun his means of self-defense. That is immoral. The first right any of us have is the right to self-defense and defense of others, obviously.
The name of this program was titled, "I'm Not Giving Up My AR-15." And he goes on to make the case. It's like, I want this for the protection of myself and my family and my children. First of all, I'm a public profile person, and I get lots of personal threats because I'm Ben Shapiro. Yeah. But secondarily, I'm a Jew. And there's violence out there. But you know what? You don't even need all of those reasons. You drive into D.C. for any business, and you should be able to protect yourself given what we see every day. So Gretchen Carlson replies to this on the
just shut up, Gretchen.
On the X social media platform. She retweets it with her own commentary, and she says, ordinary people didn't have AR-15s before 2004.
What?
Might want to fact check that. They're not some time-honored American tradition. They're a recent mistake that we could fix and save thousands of lives in the process. Now, as you can imagine, many people commented on that and gave her a bit of a history lesson about the AR-15 and that it certainly was a ubiquitous and popular firearm prior to 2004. She's now responded with a video. I'm going to let you hear her defense and her explanation of her position. And let me just, spoiler alert, she hasn't made it better. She's actually dug her hole even deeper here on not knowing anything about guns.
You're being very nice because you know her. I don't. She's an idiot.
All right. That's a good way to characterize it, too. We will play you what she had to say and comment on it in just a moment.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
Making sense of the news.
So when last we checked on Gretchen Carlson, she was getting ratioed up the wazoolie there on social media because she said that before 2004, hardly anyone had an AR-15. And, of course, that's just not the case. It was actually quite a popular weapon well before 2004. She got a lot of attention for that. It got a lot of news coverage, actually. And so she put out a video late yesterday afternoon responding to the attention.
My tweet regarding Ben Shapiro and his love of AR-15s. Big round of applause for the clever detectives who pointed out that technically a few ranchers and animal control people did own these guns before 2004. And since we're all big fans of math, here are more numbers that seem relevant.
Okay, so we're all fans of math, so she's going to deliver some other numbers. Pay close attention to the numbers she delivers, all you fans of math out there, which, by the way, I don't believe Gretchen, love her to death, really, but I don't think that she has proven herself to be any
did not major in math.
This is not... They really should bring the bathing suit competition back, I think. All right, so fans of math, pay attention to the numbers. We're going to give you the numbers.
In 1992, AR-15s composed roughly 21 in every 100 firearms made in the U.S. By 2020, almost 1 in 5 guns made here were AR-15s.
Wait a minute.
There are now more than 20 million AR-15s in people's closets and cabinets. Oh, and there's this. In 2023, there's been 560 mass shootings in our country, and we still have 2 months to go. This is not normal.
Not normal.
A world where everyone has AR-15s is just a hell of a lot more dangerous than one where we don't.
Okay. So, couple things. First of all, let's set aside the fact that what they even call a mass shooting now is completely warped.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
What do they call a mass shooting? Anywhere where there are 3 victims?
Right.
Or more.
Yes.
And that could also include the shooter. So if you love triangle, you shoot your husband, you shoot his girlfriend, and you shoot yourself, that's a mass shooting.
Yeah.
Not only that, we know that the vast number of so-called mass shootings are actually perpetrated with handguns. Illegal handguns, usually in South Side of Chicago, is where these shootings take place, not with AR-15s, right?
Yeah, again, and you should also know that a lot of these groups that trot out these numbers, like 1 in 5, they're usually based on things like Everytown USA or Moms Demand Action figures, which do use these insane. I mean, and again, some of the numbers of deaths include suicides, includes accidental discharges, things that have nothing to do with actual mass shootings.
Yeah. All right. So now let's get back to the math, though. Remember, she said fans of math. Here are some numbers.
Hilarious.
In 1992, AR-15s composed roughly 21 in every 100 firearms made in the U.S.
All right, 21 out of 100. That's roughly 20%, right?
Right.
20%.
Right.
Or 1/5.
Right.
See, I'm a fan of math. 20% is 1/5, right? All right.
By 2020, almost 1 in 5 guns made here were AR-15.
Wait a minute. 1 in 5 is literally 1/5, which means also 20%. In other words, 21 out of 100, which was the low number in 1992, is actually a teeny bit more.
That's right.
Than 1 in 5.
That's right. Great going. You can tell that Gretchen Carlson used to read from a teleprompter.
Well, I think she was reading from a teleprompter here, too. She had sunglasses on, so you couldn't see her eyes moving. Then she gave us this one after pointing out that there are 20 million. So think about this for a minute. She's trying to scare everybody by saying there are now 20 million AR-15s out there. So keep that in mind. There are 20 million AR-15s.
In 2023, there's been 560 mass shootings in our country, and we still have 2 months to go.
All right. Now, listen, I don't like the fact that there have been 563 so-called mass shootings. That's bad. But honestly, let's break this down for a minute. There are 20 million AR-15s, and there have been just about 560 so-called mass shootings. Even if you believe that AR-15s are responsible for each and every one of those, which we know they're not, if AR-15s are so bad, and there are 20 million of them out there, wouldn't you suspect there would be a few more than 560 of these horrible crimes?
You would think.
And the fact that it's just 560 compared to 20 million actually proves that the vast by insurmountable magnitude majority of AR-15 owners are not using them to commit a crime.
Yeah.
They're using them to the way Ben Shapiro says he wants to use it, which is for defensive, safe, responsible purposes.
And it is really amazing after we saw people defenseless being attacked, tortured, killed, raped, that this narrative is even out there right now. Yeah. That we should tell people you don't need to defend yourself. Right. And also gangs, these roving mass number of people going into these towns on the border of Gaza.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, that's when you need an AR-15.
That's correct. When you live out in the
wilderness. We actually have a real-time example of where a gun like this, a firearm like this, would have been useful. And they're still sitting there. There's Gretchen Carlson
Ben Shapiro's
sitting on her porch
in Manhattan
lecturing Ben Shapiro with hilariously bad math, by the way.
Yes. What it just for you kids out there getting ready to go to school,
pay attention. 20
out of 100 is in fact exactly the same as 1 out of 5. Whatever point you were trying to make, you didn't make it. It's 5:53.